Don't flaunt with your small amount of money like that. Don't come to my daughter's wedding. My eldest son's wife, Sarah, hurled such abuse at me over the phone. Hearing those words, I felt intense anger. Why should I be told not to come? However, Sarah displayed an attitude as if she were a devoted mother to her daughter. Oh, fine. If that's the case, I'll be happy to comply. Feeling fed up with her attitude, I said so. Sarah then burst into laughter as if she got the result she wanted. It's infuriating. It makes me want to cry. However, after this, Sarah would experience an unexpected betrayal. I am Mary. I'll be 83 years old this year. At the age of 18, I married into a family that ran a greengrocer for generations, and with my husband, who was the eldest, I was blessed with 3 children. Due to the store being combined with our house, I was involved in running the store while raising children and managing the household. At that time, I even carried my young kids on my back, standing in front of the store serving customers. There were tough times, but now my kids are all married and my grandchildren are growing up healthy. I was enjoying a happy retirement. 3 years ago, my husband passed away, and it was my children and grandchildren who supported me when I was feeling down. To repay them, I believe I must stay healthy and live a long life. The eldest and second daughters got married far away, but my youngest, who was my first son, him and his family built a house nearby. When my son was building the house, there was a suggestion to live together, but our house was too small for 2 households. Moreover, my eldest son had no intention of taking over the greengrocer business and chose to work for a company. My husband and eldest son argued about him taking over the business, but my son has the right to choose his own life. In the end, we respected my son's wishes and decided to close the store with our generation. After my husband passed away and it was finally decided to close the store, we received many requests from the locals and our regular customers to continue the business. My daughters also said, "If you lose Dad and the shop at the same time, Mom, will you be okay? You'll lose your sense of purpose, won't you?" I also didn't want to lose the shop, so I decided to keep operating it as long as my body allowed me to. This shop, which holds memories not only with my kids but also with my grandchildren, is very special to me. My son's kids, Emma and her younger brother Mike, used to visit the store frequently after school. They would often stay at the store doing homework and having snacks before happily heading home. However, one day they said, "Mom said to come home without stopping by." Despite that, my eldest son's wife, Sarah, who had grown impatient with their kids' visits to my house, warned them through the school, "Don't make any detours, go straight home." It seems Sarah was dissatisfied with how I got along with her kids. One day, she said with a dissatisfied tone, "Could you not spoil the kids too much, please?" "I'm not spoiling them. I just help them with their homework and give them snacks. That's all." I argued back. While I do find my grandkids adorable, I certainly do not condone any misbehavior, and I don't let them get away with everything. With an unhappy expression, Sarah wandered around the store looking at the items. "Oh, Sarah, there are some vegetables that can't be sold just because they look a little off. If you want, you can take them home." I spoke gently. However, without understanding my kindness, Sarah frowned. "Are you telling me to feed my adorable kids something that doesn't look good?" I was surprised by her response. Even if they look unappealing, it doesn't change their taste or nutritional value. I think it's better to take home things that can't be sold than to not be sold at the store and just trash them. In the end, Sarah picked up the products displayed for sale. That will be 70 cents. When I said that, she opened her eyes wide and exclaimed, "Wait, you're charging money? Even though we're family?" The items on display are products, so of course. However, she made excuses like not having her wallet and left without paying. Since then, she has been taking the store's products home without paying for them. Decades have passed since then. Even now, Sarah takes the store's vegetables home for free as if it's a normal thing. It has escalated, and recently the amount and frequency of what she takes have been increasing, using the excuse that the kids have grown up. I used to overlook it when my husband was alive, but now that I'm running the shop alone, I can't sustain the business if she keeps doing that. With years of frustration, I confronted her. "You know, Sarah, I've decided to stop giving you vegetables for free. Since my husband passed away, I only purchase enough to sell to our regular customers and neighbors. It's fine if you pay for them properly." She reacted with the same wide-eyed surprise as before and said the same thing. "Are you saying you'll charge family members now? Besides, what's the point of earning money at this stage?" I felt angry at her words. "Don't come to the shop anymore. There's no more vegetables for you." As I yelled, Sarah seemed a bit surprised. I couldn't stand her behavior and how she took everything for granted. "Mary, please don't say such cold things. We are family, right?" Suddenly, using a sweet voice, she approached me and said, "Actually, Emma is getting married, so we have to save money. It would really help if you could share with us for her sake." "What? Emma is getting married?" I asked, suppressing my irritated emotions and inquiring about the wedding. "Yes, that's right. Emma is getting married. And the man she's marrying to is the second son of an exclusive restaurant in the neighboring town." I was happy, and at the same time deeply moved to hear that Emma was getting married. If my husband were still alive, he would be thrilled. However, that's a different matter from giving away vegetables for free. As I watched her put on a false smile, I sighed. Well, I understand that getting married involves various expenses. I understand, but this will be the last time, okay? Though I couldn't fully accept it, I reluctantly allowed it, thinking of my grandchild. I bid farewell to Sarah, who, with no principles, took home more vegetables than usual. A few days later, I received news from Emma that she was getting married. "Grandma, you'll come to the wedding, right?" I replied to Emma with joy. Of course! With the anticipation of seeing Emma in her moment of glory at her wedding, I praised myself for living so long. However, in the evening of that day, Sarah visited our home again. Usually, she would immediately start browsing through the vegetables when she came. But today, she seemed different. "I'm sorry to bring this up suddenly, but there's something I need to discuss with you, Mary." She entered the house with a serious expression and suddenly started pleading to me. "What's wrong all so suddenly?" "I'm sorry, but could you provide financial assistance for Emma's wedding?" I was surprised by her sudden request. It seems that my son's salary alone is not enough to cover the cost of my grandchild's wedding. "How much do you need? Rather than providing assistance, think of it as a gift from me." As I said that, Sarah looked up at me. "It's $60,000. "What? That much?" The amount was larger than I imagined, and I couldn't help but raise my voice.
He's the son of an exclusive restaurant, so there will be many guests. But because he's the second son, it seems there won't be as much support from his family as their first son.
I listened to her story and briefly considered whether I should give her the money or not. However, Emma has always been the closest to me, and I've taken care of her since she was little. I see. Fine. If the money is for Emma, I had no regrets or hesitation about giving it. There's still my late husband's insurance money. I'll use it for my grandchild's joyous new beginning. My late husband in heaven wouldn't be angry if it's for our grandchild. According to Sarah, the deadline for the wedding expenses is the day after tomorrow. In that case, I'll transfer the money tomorrow. When I said that, Sarah told me,
"We have to transfer the money together with Emma's fiancé's portion."
Wondering if that's how it works, the next day I handed over the prepared cash to Sarah, who went to the bank. After a while, the wedding invitation arrived. I was about to open it when I received a call from Emma.
"Did you receive the wedding invitation?"
I could hear how happy Emma was. "It just arrived. I'm really looking forward to it." Then Emma began talking about her fiancé. She spoke with joy, her face full of delight, eager for me to meet her kind fiancé.
"The reception will be held at his family's restaurant, and we decided on that because it would be more affordable."
She spoke about the wedding. For some reason, I couldn't fully grasp her words. Having it at a restaurant makes it more affordable? I asked for clarification.
"Yes, that's right. We visited a few places, but they were all expensive. While talking to him, we thought it would be cheaper to have it at his family's place. Besides, the food there is excellent, and they have a spacious venue. So we thought of using the money saved for our honeymoon."
I absent-mindedly replied over the phone. While listening to Emma, I couldn't help but wonder where the $60,000 I gave Sarah went to. From her story, it didn't seem like Emma was lying. She seemed completely unaware of the $60,000 I gave to Sarah, and I couldn't help but suspect that it was all planned by Sarah. She might have plotted to not only take the vegetables, but also money from me, and finally executed the plan, and I felt that there was a good chance of Sarah doing so.
"If we have the wedding at his family's place, we can cover the cost with our savings. And besides, I think we'll receive congratulatory gifts from everyone, so it won't burden us too much."
Hearing my granddaughter's words, I felt my blood run cold. After the call ended, I realized what Sarah had done and was dumbfounded. I needed to confront her immediately and get back the $60,000. With trembling hands, I called Sarah right away.
"Oh, Mary, what's the matter?"
Hearing her feigned innocent voice, I took a deep breath and spoke in a low voice. "Sarah, the wedding invitation arrived."
"Oh, did it arrive? We seem to be able to have the wedding without any problems, all thanks to you. Emma is also very happy."
Hearing those words, I lost my patience. How could she be so blatant with her lies? "Stop with these blatant lies." I confronted her with an angry tone. Emma contacted me, but she seemed to know nothing about my congratulatory gift. She was so delighted that the wedding expenses were kept low. Where did you put my money? While I intended to question her calmly, my words became stronger. In response to my words, she sighed.
"Mary, wedding expenses aren't just for the ceremony. We also need to buy furniture and appliances for the new home, and they might have children in the future. No matter how much there is, it won't be enough.
But you specifically said it was for the wedding expenses of $60,000. And if she needs it for daily expenses, I'll gladly give her a congratulatory gift each time. I heard from Emma that the wedding doesn't cost so much, so give it back to me right away. From what she was saying, I couldn't agree at all. I was foolish to give it to her without confirming it with Emma. According to Sarah's explanation, the $60,000 was not for the wedding expenses.
Ah! Don't act all high and mighty over that small amount of money. If you're going to make a fuss about our wedding fund, then forget about the congratulatory gift. Don't come to our daughter's wedding,
Sarah declared with those words. But in the first place, she was the one who tricked me. Why should I be told not to come to Emma's wedding? However, Sarah acted as if she were a devoted mother to Emma. I couldn't stand what was happening now. Fine, if that's the case, I'm more than happy to oblige. I said that, still enraged, and Sarah let out a triumphant laugh, as if she had gotten the result she wanted. Frustration filled my heart, but there was nothing I could do about what I had said. I tearfully opened the wedding invitation and I chose to decline the invitation and sent it back. A few days later, on a certain evening, having lost the excitement due to the recent argument with Sarah, I was sitting alone watching TV in silence.
"Hello, is Grandma there?"
I heard a voice calling from outside the store. "Oh, Mike! What's the matter?" My grandson, Mike, was standing outside the store. Mike is Emma's younger brother.
"Can we talk for a moment?"
I invited Mike into my home. "What brings you here at this hour? Have you had dinner?" I was delighted that Mike came to visit me. While I was in high spirits, he had a serious expression and spoke.
"Why aren't you coming to Emma's wedding?"
Upon hearing Mike's words, I paused in the middle of preparing dinner.
"Emma seems down. She heard you say over the phone that you'd attend, but the invitation card had a circle indicating your absence. Emma was wondering if she did something wrong."
Hearing that, I was taken aback. I hadn't considered how Emma would feel, as I had acted solely based on my anger towards Sarah. I showed Mike my passbook. Seeing me doing something so sudden, Mike looked puzzled, so I asked him to take a look at the passbook.
$60,000 is missing."
As expected, his eyes fixed on the figure of $60,000 that had been withdrawn a few days ago. So I started talking about my interaction with Sarah. It wouldn't be a good story for my grandson to hear about his mother being spoken ill of, but I wanted Mike to know that it wasn't Emma's fault. I wasn't sure if he would believe me, but all I could do was tell Mike the truth, so that Emma wouldn't blame herself. After I finished talking, Mike said,
"I understand,"
and slowly got up. "That's why I can't attend, even if I wanted to. I'm sorry." Hearing those words, Mike shook his head.
"It's okay, don't worry."
Saying that, he returned to his home. Then, a few days later, I received a phone call. It was an inquiry about purchasing vegetables. I explained that I currently only sell to longtime customers, but the man on the other end of the line pleaded.
"I really want to buy some vegetables."
As a business owner, it's heartwarming to hear such words from customers, especially because I couldn't attend Emma's wedding. I felt like I had found a new source of joy. When the man came to pick up the vegetables, we talked for a while. It seemed like he had recently moved to the neighborhood. He had a gentle way of speaking and looked clean and nice. The man started coming to the store every few days. Each time he asked for a large quantity of vegetables. He said,
"I want everyone to try these delicious vegetables."
While I appreciated his enthusiasm, I explained that it would be impossible to sell that much vegetables to many people. But he didn't mind if the vegetables were not up to the standard. Yielding to his enthusiasm, I made arrangements with a contract farmer and the fresh produce market that directly supplied me. I also temporarily stopped selling to other customers to fulfill his orders. As I led busy days, the day of the wedding arrived in the blink of an eye. I imagined Emma being a beautiful bride and wished I could see her. But I had to suppress that desire, as it wouldn't come true, so I turned on the TV as usual. Because many items had been sold the other day, there were no products to sell in the store today. I had nothing to do and felt even emptier.
Excuse me, hello.
The voice from in front of the store caught my attention, so I got up and peeked outside the shop. The man, David, who had been coming here lately, was there. "Oh, are you here to shop?"
No, I came here for a different reason today.
As he said that, David approached me and quickly took my hand.
Let's go. It's the wedding day today, right?
I had previously mentioned him about Emma's wedding, even the date. Embarrassed and with a wry smile, I thought I revealed too much information. "Oh, you've been mindful of that, huh? Thank you, but you see, I replied that I couldn't go, so I can't go."
Even so, the bride asked me to make sure I bring you.
I wonder if this man knows Emma. He has been coming here many times, but we haven't talked about that at all. I couldn't help but show a puzzled expression.
I'm sorry. She told me not to say anything to you, but I am actually Emma's fiancé.
I couldn't catch up with the sudden revelation and stared at his face. I was too surprised to say anything.
Emma really wants you to come, Mary. She said, please bring her, it'll be fine.
He showed me photos of him and Emma together, as well as pictures of his father on the restaurant's website. He also showed me a family photo taken with his smartphone, clearing away my doubts about him. Thanks to that, my tension eased, and understanding that he was Emma's fiancé, I got into his car. That's how I safely arrived at the venue. Afterward, he led me to a room.
"Oh, you came, Grandma!"
There was my granddaughter, all ready for the wedding. Seeing her in a beautiful dress, tears welled up in my eyes. "Emma, you look absolutely stunning. You've grown up so fast." While saying that, I approached her and took in the sight of my granddaughter on her special day. She had tears in her eyes as well, but she was smiling happily. "I heard a lot from Mike. I'm sorry for the terrible things my mother did." She apologized in a disappointed voice. "That's right. I really couldn't stand Sarah's attitude. But you don't need to apologize, Emma. Today is your special day. It was so nice to see you in your beautiful dress. We should be grateful to David." As I said that, I looked at him, and he also smiled gently. "Now you should get ready too. The wedding will start soon, right?" He had brought me to Emma, and he was still in his casual clothes. I urged him to get changed quickly. It wouldn't do for the groom to appear at the wedding in his casual clothes.
"Come on, Grandma. You need to prepare your hairstyle and everything,"
Emma urged me on. "Well, I have to go back before seeing Sarah. If we meet again, we'll just end up fighting." My granddaughter's feelings were heartwarming. However, I couldn't afford to create a scene where Sarah would yell and scream during this important event.
"Then don't worry about it."
Emma says so, confidently. Just then, we heard a knock on the door. When Mike entered the room and saw me, he greeted me with delight, saying,
"Oh, Grandma, you came."
Emma's fiancé had left the room to prepare, leaving only the two grandkids and me in the waiting room. "Well, I'll be on my way soon," Seeing me say that, the two grandkids exchanged glances and burst into laughter. Then Mike took out his smartphone and made a call. It seemed like a video call, and both of them were peering into the screen.
What's this? Mike! What do you mean by this?
As soon as the call connected, I heard a voice yelling through the smartphone. It was Sarah.
What's going on? You said you'd park the car and come back, but you disappeared. What's the meaning of this? You said the wedding venue had changed, right?
Watching their reactions, it seemed that Mike had taken her to a different wedding venue.
Mom, did you apologize to Grandma?
She's not here. Grandma isn't here. Saying that, Emma questioned her. Hearing Emma mention me, I instinctively raised my head, but I decided to silently listen to their conversation.
Apologize to Grandma? Of course I did. It's strange. She said she would come. Anyway, hurry up and come pick me up.
I can't help but be amazed by Sarah, who lies so easily. Instead of apologizing, she hasn't contacted me at all since that incident.
Really? And did you return the money?
Emma further asked.
Of course, I returned it. Now, send someone to pick me up.
In response to her casual reply, I stood up and shouted at her. Stop saying nonsense. All you do is lie. Not only did you not apologize, but you haven't contacted me even once since then.
What? Why are you there, Mary?
Her surprised voice echoed from the phone. Ignoring that, I continued to shout at Sarah. Stop spouting nonsense and return my money now. Upon hearing that, Sarah retorted with a defiant tone.
Don't call me a liar. You're the one who said you would be absent, and yet here you are. This is just another one of your excuses not to show up.
She condescendingly said something that made no sense at all. However, it seemed that she didn't understand the situation she was in. I have no intention of attending the wedding. Since you seem to not understand, let me explain. If I'm absent, you won't be able to attend the wedding either. Got it?
What are you talking about?
She spoke as if she couldn't understand at all, so I continued. If you think carefully, you'll understand. You should think about the reason why Emma brought me here. Is everything going as you imagined? I said that as I huffed to make her feel uncomfortable. Emma nodded when she heard my words and said,
Grandma is right. I wanted Grandma to attend, so that's why I brought her to the venue.
If Grandma is absent, you can't attend either, Mom.
What? Emma, what do you mean? Fine. Prepare a seat for Grandma then. Fine.
She reluctantly said, showing her frustration.
We're done talking. Now come and pick me up.
I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Mike refused his mother's request.
If I go now, the wedding will start. Call for a taxi and come on your own.
The two grandkids were grinning and seemed to be expressing their frustration on my behalf. Probably Sarah on the other end of the call must be boiling with anger. After finishing the conversation on the phone, Emma looked at me and said,
Actually, we've prepared a seat for you, Grandma, from the beginning. So, Grandma, let's get ready quickly.
Hearing that, I was so happy that tears welled up in my eyes. I followed Emma's words and quickly got dressed in a rented formal dress and had my makeup done. Then I headed to the venue with Mike. By the way, does your father know about this? I asked Mike.
I don't think so. I don't talk to him much in general. Well, he should be coming around now, I guess.
Mike's estimation was correct, and shortly after that, my eldest son appeared. After confirming my presence, he murmured with an annoyed look.
Oh, Mom, you're here. What's going on? My wife hasn't arrived yet. Where is Sarah?
Seeing his attitude, I couldn't help but be amazed by my own child. If his wife has such a personality, I couldn't help but think that my eldest son was no different. Even though it's said that your partner is a reflection of oneself, it's sad when they don't realize that fact by themselves. As scheduled, the wedding began without Sarah, who was nowhere to be found. I was deeply moved by Emma with her wedding dress. The groom's restaurant venue was also lovely. The view from the venue overlooking the courtyard was very elegant and charming. The reception started and the dishes were brought out at the perfect time. Then the MC began to explain the dishes.
Today's dishes were prepared using vegetables sourced from the grocery store that Mrs. Emma's grandmother has been running for many years.
I couldn't help but stare at the dishes that were brought out. Come to think of it, a few days ago, Emma's fiancé came to the store and ordered a large amount of vegetables, saying that he wanted everyone to try them. So, it was all for today's dishes.
Among the questions we asked Mrs. Emma beforehand, we learned that the sweets her grandmother makes are her favorite. Therefore, today, the head chef has recreated Grandma's dishes based on the recipe provided by Mrs. Emma. The dish with meat and potatoes is accompanied by Mary's recipe for fries. For dessert, we also have candied apple pie. Please enjoy them while feeling the love poured into them by your grandchildren, Mary.
Hearing the MC's explanation, tears welled up in my eyes. I regretted my decisions to skip the wedding, driven by my emotions towards Sarah. Finally, Sarah arrived just as Emma was changing into different dress. It seemed that she was late because she rushed to get dressed for the reception after arriving. She appeared at the venue, out of breath, and glared at me, but I couldn't afford to pay any attention to her and looked away. The wedding proceeded smoothly, and finally both sets of parents were called to the front. Seeing Sarah standing in line, I thought it was good enough that she was even allowed to be there, not being rejected by Emma. While looking at Emma and her groom and their parents lined up, that's what I thought in my mind. And now, on behalf of both families, the groom's father began his speech.
Thank you very much for attending today despite your busy schedules.
After expressing his gratitude to the attendees, he spoke about the restaurant and his son, the groom. When he finished talking, he started speaking while looking at me.
Today's dishes were truly wonderful. Emma, your grandmother seems to know delicious vegetables very well. The recipe she provided highlighted the natural flavors of the ingredients, making it a perfect match for our chefs. Actually, until now, we were procuring vegetables from an online retailer called Sarah. But despite being delicious vegetables, they were expensive, and we were turned down due to limited quantities and because of their poor service. We were considering reviewing our supplier.
As he spoke, the groom's father glanced sideways at Sarah. Feeling something odd about his seemingly casual behavior, I looked at Sarah in his line of sight. To my surprise, her face turned pale.
We found out that Sarah, the vegetable retailer, is actually the online shop run by Emma's mother. The quality is excellent, but her mother should study more about Mary's passion for vegetables and customer service. This is surely fate. With this opportunity of my son's wedding, if we can have a personal and business relationship with you, Mary, our restaurant will be able to offer exceptional dishes to our customers.
Having heard the groom's father's words, my eldest son's wife didn't turn pale, but her face went completely white, as if she had completely lost her blood.
Wait, please! That is,
Sarah tried to make some excuses. but my eldest son stopped her before she could say anything. The handkerchief she was holding was not for wiping away tears. It had turned into something to wipe away her cold sweat. After David's father's speech concluded, I showed my gratitude with applause. I was surprised to find someone who would discuss future business with me, given my short remaining time in this world. He's on a completely different level from Sarah, who was just talking about making money now. David's father, who passionately runs his business, is on a whole another level, and that's what I felt. Perhaps Sarah had been reselling the vegetables she took from my store for free. She really is insane. The wedding ended, and many of David's relatives and guests at the venue warmly greeted me. I felt genuinely happy that my efforts had been recognized, and I shook hands with many people. Meanwhile, Sarah's complexion still hadn't returned, and she responded with a forced smile. Apparently, Emma had informed David's father about everything that had happened. She must have asked him to protect me, and that's probably why his speech went that way. David's father, as well as Emma or Mike and my eldest son, didn't know that Sarah had been reselling the vegetables without paying for them, taking them from my store. When everyone found out about it, they blamed Sarah, and finally it seems like she reflected on her actions. Afterward, the money I gave her was returned. My grandkids managed to get it back from Sarah. According to Sarah, she had accumulated them along with the sales she had resold the vegetables in the past. Apparently, she had set it aside as a living fund in case she divorced my son. This incident made my son feel he couldn't stay with her anymore, so he requested for divorce. However, it seems my son tried to change his mind, fearing the immediate consequences of a divorce. But since my son and his wife led lives without interfering much with each other, there is probably no love left between them at this point. I don't think it will take long for them to divorce. From my perspective, I believe my son is partly to blame for this outcome. I hope my grandkids and their spouses learn from their parents' marital relationship as a bad example for their reference. And as it turned out, Emma's husband lives near my home. After getting married, Emma moved there as well. After a while, Emma showed her willingness to take over our vegetable shop. To increase the quantity of products handled by the store, we made a contract with a farmer related to David's family. We also stopped limiting our transactions and went back to the way we operated when my husband and I ran the business. Additionally, we opened an online shop, and with this, the volume of our purchases will significantly increase compared to when my husband and I were doing this together. With the $60,000 that my grandkids got back, we also renovated the store. With the effect of a beautifully remodeled shop and my grandchild becoming the poster girl, we started to attract new customers. The lively atmosphere from before has returned to the store. In the near future, the day may come when I will run the store with my great-grandchild on my back. With such excitement in mind, I pledge to continue my business energetically.